You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast Thursday night live call-in show. I'm Carlos, and with me today is my guest, Patrick from Advanced Three Spaces. Second time on the show.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Patrick.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining me. If you're wondering where the rest of the crew is tonight, Rob is with family doing family stuff. Wayne is at I believe a Christmas type event or a holiday event, either work or otherwise. So looking forward to seeing him if he can pop in. I don't expect Rob to pop in at all. But for that reason, Patrick has stepped in as the second chair to talk to me about gaming and gaming topics. Very specifically, tonight we're going to talk about AI in gaming and gaming adjacent things. That's kind of more of Patrick's purview. It's his space that he's more familiar with than I am. And that's why I'm looking forward to having this conversation, because I'm starting to dabble in that world a little more. So I want to become a little more proficient, learn how to use it a little better as someone who's a content creator, to hear about different ways it's being used and maybe improve that. Looking forward to having that conversation with Patrick. Also, it is a call-in show, so we will have our phone line open. We'll take phone calls. It'll interrupt us. I get it. That's just the world we live in when it's a call-in show. So we'll be here talking. Don't be afraid to interrupt us, to call in, to ask questions, or you know what? Just change the topic, because when you call in, you become the host for the next 5-10 minutes, and you get to make the topic whatever you want it to be, because that's how a call-in show works. And then we'll also do our Twig, our This Week in Gaming, where Patrick and I will talk about different games that we've played in the last week or so to highlight any great experiences or things that maybe you shouldn't be playing or we think you should stay away from. So that's going to be our episode tonight. Phone lines are now open. 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in, talk to us about board gaming. Give us a call. Beans and Dice podcast. Patrick, we've established your cred. We established your credentials in gaming last time you were here.
Right.
and now we're going deeper into this gaming world, because we're going to talk about what can be a third rail for some folks. This can be very emotional for some folks, talking about AI in gaming, because there's a lot of feelings that come around this AI topic.
Absolutely.
With regards to rights of artists, of creators, the ease of use, the corporatization of all this. But I really want to try to stay away from the negative conversation tonight, because that can overshadow a lot of it. I want to get into that place where, what are some of the good things that we're seeing out of it? How are folks using this, and those type of examples? That's where I'll steer our conversation. What are your thoughts?
That sounds good. And so, yeah, I'm here representing Advanced Three Spaces. That's my not-for-profit. Our mission is to build community through board gaming events. But my day job is actually working for a company called Gartner. And I'm an IT analyst, and I advise leaders of businesses on their AI strategy. So that's what I spend all day doing. And I just want to I have to make it clear, the opinions that I'll express on the show are my own. They are not the official positions of Gartner. So this is all coming from my head. And it's just my personal beliefs and experiences. And yeah, I think it is a fascinating technology. It's a fascinating topic because, like you said, it can be very emotional. The hype around AI is just like through the atmosphere. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can actually quote some things people have said. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, said it's the greatest invention since electricity or fire. Bill Gates said that it is the biggest or the most important invention of any lifetime, right? And of course, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, says things like customer service will be totally, totally gone. So, I mean, that hype is huge. And then you have all of the controversy around the fact that it's basically built on stolen data, and yeah, emotions get high. So there's a lot of ground we can cover. And particularly in gaming, I think there are ways it can help people to cover skill gaps that they may have. They may not be able to afford to hire people to do. but there's absolutely some ethical considerations that go along with that.
Well, I don't want to skip over a very monumental event that just occurred here on the Beans and Dice podcast live. I do believe this was our first legal disclosure that we've ever had live on the show. So let's get that achievement out there. We have an achievement. We've unlocked legal disclosures. Little banner across the bottom. Let's talk about some of the good stuff for AI. And I'll talk in my experiences. I'll have some questions about that, and I want to get into your experiences where it's much deeper. So we'll kind of roll into that deeper world. We'll start with dipping our toe in. As a content creator, something that I've noticed is the use of it by other content creators. When I say it, I mean AI, the use of AI. I have found myself subscribed to a couple of channels that I was in love with. I was like, wow, these conversations are in depth. The banter is great. I'm loving this, and I'm listening to it at night, before bed, just kind of listen to conversations about Arnak and other great games. And then over a couple of days, I start feeling like something's not right here, because you start to see some of the, I don't know, we call them artifacts or glitches, where they might repeat something or contradict themselves immediately. And it just started giving these tells. And then when I research a little deeper, I find that the channel in its entirety was all created by AI. The voices, the scripts, all of it was all AI. So it felt really good at first. It let me down a little bit. However, what I have found is another channel where a couple, and they're upfront, they're very upfront about it in their first video. It's, hey, listen, we don't want our faces on YouTube and we don't want our voices, but we've got some great content to talk about board game reviews. We're just going to have AI deliver that message to you. And I found that one more appealing because that was more upfront. That was like in my, I'm checking I'm allowing the cookies on that one. I'm going to let the cookies in on that one because they're being upfront about it. How have you seen content creation in board game space with AI?
Well, I mean, that transparency is super critical. Just want to mention that. Like, regardless of how it's being used, you've got to let people know that you're using AI in some part of the process. And there's actually legislation in individual states and at the federal level and in other countries that would make that mandatory. So transparency is super important. Most of the time I encounter it, it's AI slop. Like it's garbage that's just been produced for clickbait, right? And a lot of times you get that sort of, it's like almost like the uncanny valley. Like you can tell something's not quite right. Like it's very real, but it's not quite real. And it's off-putting. If you know that it's AI generated, your expectations are different, and you can even be more accepting of what's going on. I've used it for my own game design process, and in fact, my biggest use case for AI is brainstorming. So I use it for things like, I have an idea, I'm trying to figure out how to articulate it, and I'll go into ChatGPT in voice mode and just talk, and it'll say my ideas back to me. It doesn't think, it doesn't reason, it doesn't have creativity, right? It's just repeating things back. It's like a stochastic parrot is the phrase. So I love it for that type of like, let me better articulate my own ideas and brainstorm with myself. It's almost like brainstorming in a mirror, right? It's going to reflect your own ideas back to you, and it might be like, oh, that's not right. Or, oh, okay, maybe I could do that a little differently. So there are definitely positive ways to use it that just help you uncover your own thinking. The problem really comes in when you put it on the system to think. That's where it's going to fail you, because it doesn't think.
Well, we'd like to welcome our friend Wayne to the show. Welcome, Wayne.
Hey.
Wayne, if you missed the intro, Patrick from Advanced 3D Spaces is in. Rob is going to be out for the evening.
Soccer.
And we are talking AI in gaming-ish context.
Perfect time, right?
I think your mic is missing. Check your mic settings. It's not this one. I'll allow Wayne to jump into that. Okay, so one of the things that I heard.
Is that better? That got me?
Oh, much better.
There we go. Yeah, it was whatever. Sorry. Yes, perfect timing. AI is good stuff. So
disclosure that it is AI is important. That's the first thing that I wrote down. being upfront because it can feel sus.
It's not going anywhere, right? AI is here to stay. Actually, and
Ooh.
without talking about my day job too much, most people know I work in education. I actually am. I have been selected to work on a national committee for AI implementation in higher education. So
Interesting.
it's something that I do on a daily basis. I work with AI all the time now. It's like,
Well, the kids are telling me that AI is in education all the time now.
pretty much
Every paper they write, every homework assignment they turn in.
100%. And it's like what we've done at the school I work with is you embrace it, right? Like, you know that the kids are going to use it. So what you do in the front end, you show them how to use it responsibly. You say, like, you cannot let just AI write your paper because it's going to be very obvious. And as good as AI is and is getting better, software can easily detect when it's your writing versus like a computer writing it. And so what we've done, at least in the classroom settings, is straight up tell students it's okay to use AI. You use AI after the fact. You do your rough draft, you save your rough draft, then you have AI polish it to look for your grammar and spelling issues and suggestions for improvement, and you learn from it, right? You yourself as the human can learn from the AI modifications, and then you cite things and things like that. So it's really showing them how to use it as a tool, as more as just doing the work for you. You still have to do the work yourself. You can use AI to improve the work that you're doing, and that's really. And I think that's where it fits in the board game industry too. I think I think I was listening a few minutes before I jumped in, and Patrick was talking about his game design, right? And to me, that's like the. I remember even a year or 2 years ago, what's his name? Oh my God. Jeff Engelstein was talking about uses of AI in iterations of board game design. If you design a board game, you can feed the rules to an AI engine, and it can run thousands of simulations to find holes and balancing issues of cards and powers and things like that. That you, in your playtesting, if you playtest it a couple hundred times, you're not going to find every flaw that you will find in thousands of iterations of an AI testing. And I think a good example of that is think of Jamie Stegmaier's Tapestry, right? He did Tapestry. He probably play tested it hundreds or thousands of times with individuals. And when the game came out, pretty quickly, as millions of plays of that game occurred, people found flaws with the civilizations.
Yeah, let me go find my pack that I had to buy to replace all the civilizations that weren't.
Several years later, he came out with a fix to those civilizations. So imagine an AI engine running those millions of gameplay simulations prior to going live and finding those issues. That's kind of where, like, I like the idea of the use of AI in gaming.
And what it can't tell you if the game is fun. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yes. Yeah.
Right. So it can absolutely help with all of the mathematical portions of it, balance and probabilities. Can't tell you if it's fun. So you definitely still need people in there to play it.
Yep.
So so here I am, a content creator, and I want to have that conversation with myself that you shared there, Patrick. So like, and I've done this in writing. When I'm writing a review, I write it. I'm a Kindle scribe guy. That I like handwriting things down. And I will handwrite my notes for what we call give it the beans. When we review a game, we give it the beans, the B for basics, E for enjoyment, A for aesthetics, N for negatives, and S for summary. You see what we did there?
Yeah, very nice.
It's right in the line of the show. Rob thought it was stupid when I first did it. I'm just going to put that out there. But when I give it the beans, I write it down, and then I go back and kind of rewrite it myself. And that is that dialogue with myself, because last night's Carlos is completely different than today's Carlos. Like, so my feelings that I wrote down yesterday, when I'm rewriting it the next day, I'm like, that didn't come out like I wanted to say it, or that sounds meaner than I expected it to be. How would I do that with AI so that it doesn't like take over my paper, but I can have that back and forth? Where would somebody go to do that?
So interesting. So, well, there's a couple of different places you can go to answer your question. ChatGPT, you can pay $20 a month for ChatGPT and have access to their advanced voice mode. I no longer pay for that, but for a while I was paying for that, so that I could be in the car, I could have voice mode activated, and I could be talking about a game design as I drove, kids to school or whatever, right? So that's one option. But there's also there's Google Gemini is another option. I mean, I don't know what Meta's is called, but Meta has an option for that. And then I can't remember the name of it.
Is that
Amazon's either.
OpenAI? Is Meta's
OpenAI is ChatGPT. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Google is Gemini. Amazon has a version. So all of the like tech giants have a version of this because they're the only companies that are large enough to be able to fund the training of these models, because it is massively expensive to create a model. So you have like 3 or 4 big models, and then you have lots of products that are built on top of that. So like Notion AI. So Notion is like a note-taking collaboration app. It also, you can do the same type of thing, but Notion is just passing that data on to OpenAI and getting responses back. So there's hundreds,
And I
probably
just talk
thousands.
to it. I just.
Yeah, you just talk to it, and it will generate a response. What's really important to keep in mind is that despite the name, these systems are not intelligent. So they don't understand language. They don't understand environment or context. They cannot make judgments. They don't understand nuance. They are not creative. What these models do, so you say something into the model breaks down what you said into little chunks that are about 2 or 3 characters long. So you end up, all of what you said is broken down into little chunks. They're called tokens. Then what the model does is looks at each token and predicts what is the next most likely token to appear. And so when it generates a response, it is non-deterministic. It is a probability exercise, just predicting what's most likely to happen based on its billions of tokens that it's been trained on. So all it's doing is looking at patterns in language and predicting what pattern would come after the pattern that you provided.
We got a call that came in. Beansanddice podcast. State your name, where you're calling from.
Chester from Tennessee.
My man, Chester, welcome back to the show. Tonight we have a guest in place of Robert. We have Patrick from Advanced 3 Spaces. And tonight we're chatting about AI and gaming. But of course, Chester, as you know, when you call in, you take over the show. It's yours. You're the host for the next 10 minutes or so. So what's going on, Chester?
Well, I appreciate Patrick. Good to hear from you. I really appreciate you emphasizing the fact that this is not necessarily intelligence, that we're dealing with large language models, LLMs, is more appropriately what we're dealing with here. You know, when people, too often people talk about AI, they really should say LLMs. What do you say?
Well, let me ask. Like, I don't understand this idea or concept of what an LLM is. Like, I'm a large Latino model, but like, what is a large language model?
Yeah. So
it's really not AI, is really what they're saying.
Well, AI is a very broad term. It, just like Chester's saying, it's often misused, right? So in the industry, you call it AI washing, where vendors will be like, "Oh yeah, that's AI," when it's not, or it is some portion of AI. So think of AI as the umbrella, and then there's a bunch of different techniques. So machine learning is an AI technique, and what we're talking about here is specifically generative AI.
Right, not agentic AI.
Well, so agentic AI leverages generative AI, but has the added capacity to make some change in your system, like updating a database.
Correct. Yep.
So generative AI is what we're talking about when we use the term LLM. That, just like Chester said, that's a large language model. So this is the probabilistic model that has been trained on essentially the internet. So it has looked at billions of words that have been posted to the internet, and it finds patterns in those words. And so when you provide some type of input, it is matching that with some type of pattern that it's found, like what's the closest match, and then it spits out a bunch of words that fit that pattern. So it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't reason, even though it'll say when it's it'll be like thinking, reasoning, planning. No, that is all nonsense in marketing. It doesn't, the kid has none of those capabilities. All it does is run probabilities and spit out text, or pixels if it's generating pixels, or bits of audio if it's generating a voice. Did I hear Chester?
Yeah, Chester's still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. And what I've noticed over the last 6 months is the ability for what I've heard from people using this AI, large language models. They're when they use it to create music, that the vocals in particular have become increasingly better, because I don't know what it is, because I'm just a redneck from Tennessee, but the instrumentation is been for the last 2 years very convincing, whereas the actual approximation of human vocalization has been pretty unconvincing up until the last few months.
Chester, I don't think you'd be surprised to know that one of the top charting Christian songs right now is completely Gen AI.
And
no, I wouldn't be surprised. I have an idea as to who's behind this due to different podcasts that I listen to, but that's a story for another time.
I guess I got to start another show. Get Chester on that one.
Maybe a story for another podcast. I don't know, but I don't have before I continue on that, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I just want to say real quick, I appreciate you guys having Patrick on for this conversation. And having an open conversation about it. And just being open and honest about it, because you guys are right. There are some people on both sides of this conversation that are just hell bent on their side of it. And I've got a game that I've been in the process of playtesting with friends and family for the last decade or so, and if I was to take this game to market, I wouldn't feel the need in the least to worry about trying to generate some kind of art for my project. But that's because I'm blessed to be a visual artist. In acrylics and photography and pencil. So, but I understand that not everybody is gifted in the same category. So I can understand why somebody would want to lean into these tools to generate some artwork for their prototype. So I appreciate the conversation, guys.
Well, brother, I appreciate the phone call because it let me put it on the board. I got to put the number one first call on the board. That's you, Bobby.
Well, I appreciate it. If I have a little bit more time, I've got
You do?
I got a little OGG, little other geeky goodness.
The OGG with Chester from Tennessee. We are going to talk about other geeky goodness.
Oh yeah. So last time I called in, I was tickled pink that Wayne got to geek out with me as I gushed over the Dragonlance Chronicles, and I went on to go from the fantasy realm into the space fantasy. It's Star Wars, the Old Republic, and I read Revan, which is from it's Star Wars, but it's 3954 BBY, which is 3,954 years before the Battle of Yavin. So we're talking some old Jedi. And I just, I gave Dragonlance Chronicles overall an 8 out of 10, and I stand by that. I'd say Revan. Let me see here. Let me see if I can talk about Revan without giving out any spoilers.
I have a feeling the statutes of limitations on spoilers is expired.
Yeah, I think Revan came out in early 2000s. I mean, it was based off of a video game. It was
Knights of the Old Republic.
It was originally a character in the Knights of the Old Republic. That's right. That was 2012 or so. But anyway, yeah, I give Revan. It's a standalone, which is, I'm not going to say sad because I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I would have liked a little bit more backstory of Revan. But as it is, I say Revan, by Drew Carson or however you pronounce his last name, I thought he did a really good job introducing this character into the Star Wars quote-unquote legend universe, which, after Disney bought Star Wars, they slapped the legends on it to indicate that it's not canon, but I can give it a 7 out of 10.
I've played the Old Republic video game, but I've not read any of the Old Republic fiction.
It's good stuff. Actually, I think.
This was,
go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Chester.
No, I was going to say, go ahead, Wayne.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, I loved playing the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic back in the day, and the books are pretty good too. And actually, like, my wife and I are huge Star Trek, Star Wars, all kind of geeky goodness. But like, her and I have always talked about, like, even like the newest Star Trek movies, and like when Disney bought them, we had hoped that they would kind of like put aside the Skywalker universe, the modern movies. And I think really what Star Wars should do is go back in time and film those movies, like make the Old Republic and the story, all of those stories in the movies, because it's kind of fresh, and you're getting away from the stuff that we all knew from our childhood, as far as the original Star Wars trilogy and the prequels and all that stuff, and just starting kind of fresh with that implementation of the old school stuff. I really hope they still do it at some point, because I think it would make amazing movies.
Me too. I think it'd be cool because in Revan, there's a emperor, there's a Sith emperor, and he's not the emperor, obviously, from episodes 1 through 6, or
from the sagas that we're familiar with.
It's a fresh slate,
right. And his story, it was just, like I said, no spoilers, but wow, I thought they was great. Do you guys have a little bit of time? I know you guys have got a really fascinating topic to get to, but I've created a little bit of a board game quiz for you guys if you want.
Yes, let's get Patrick in on this one. Patrick, just so you know, I won the last one. No pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, but before I turned off my stream, I thought Patrick had some board games in the background of his photo.
Indeed, the collection is growing.
We have confirmed his credentials as a gamer on his last appearance.
Okay. Well, I've got a little game. It's called Bruno, or both. And so the game is, I'm going to give you guys, in alphabetical order, one at a time, a game title, and you're going to tell me whether Bruno Cathala, Bruno Fiduti, or both.
Ooh, I love it. That's awesome.
I wasn't sure where we were going with this. I was like, we don't talk about Bruno. What's up, bro? But I love this. Go.
Oh, no. Yeah, Bruno, or both. Okay, so let's see. Well, Carlos, you get a little bit of advantage being a first in alphabetical order. Your first game up is Eric Summers, quote unquote, Fade to Hate Citadels.
Ooh. I know Wayne knows this one. I played the game hundreds of times. I'm just trying to remember which Bruno it was.
Hundreds of times?
Cathala.
Are you sure about that? Hundreds of times?
Cathala. I'm going to go with Cathala. It's by himself. Just one Bruno. Bruno C.
Oh, too bad. Citadels is Spy Duty.
Fiduti. It's a good one. I love that one game. That's a great game.
It's great because Wayne is last in these. So, Patrick, you're next.
You can skip me. I don't know who either of those people are.
Well,
No skip.
Okay.
Skipperoonies.
it's a 50-50
Okay.
guess, right?
I was going to math that
But-
out.
But it's 33. It's 1 and 3. Yeah, sorry.
Hit me. My answer is C.
Right.
But go ahead.
All right. So, Patrick, your game is Raptor.
I hear good things about Raptor.
Raptor or Rapture?
Raptor.
Okay.
Dinosaur.
Raptor. Exactly. It's in the dinosaur.
Got it.
Fiduti, Cathala, or both?
Chris Pratt.
That's the right answer.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I'm going to say both because I have no idea.
You would be correct.
Well, give Patrick a point. It is both.
I think I'm going to lose my winning streak.
Yeah. Because I knew both. I knew the first two, and now I'm not going to go to the one that I get.
All right. Let's see. Wayne, your game is Beantown.
Beantown. That's Fiduti.
Beantown.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bruno Fiduti.
Fiduti only. Okay. Well, no points for Wayne. It's a both.
It's a both. Ah, okay. Nice.
All right, round one. Patrick's in the lead. Going into round two.
All right. Round two. Carlos. Gold River.
Didn't they just reprint this? Fiduti.
Not River of Gold.
Oh, River of Gold is what I'm thinking of.
Not,
Gold River.
yeah, not River of Gold. The Gold River. Yeah.
By the title, I'm going to go Fiduti.
Oh, that's a both.
Oh, man. All right, Patrick, keep your lead.
All right.
All right. Patrick, your game is Longhorn.
Oh, that's definitely Fiduti. I just want to say Fiduti.
That's Cathala. No point. Sorry.
Still in the lead.
Yep.
All right, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Your game, Pony Express.
Pony Express is Cathala. Bruno Cathala.
Nope, it's both.
See, that's both of mine were
Oh,
both.
my goodness.
All right, Chester, did you prepare a third round?
Oh yeah, questions galore, fellas.
Okay, all right. I want to continue this one
Until
when
Carlos
Robert gets
wins.
back. We will give no, not that would not be fair. Tonight, Patrick, you are the official winner of the Bruno, or both first iteration of that. Hey, Chester, if you can get some of those lined up for when Rob's here, that I love these games that you're putting
Yeah,
together
I like
for
them.
us, man.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I can line up some more. Yeah, I appreciate you guys granting me as much time as you have.
Hey, you're appreciated on the show. Glad to have you
No,
on.
that's great, man. Appreciate
Have
you.
a good night. God bless.
Hey, God bless, guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Another great call. Chester out of Tennessee coming up with some great contests for us. Some great brain burners. Patrick, you're it's official. Never play again.
Well,
There you go.
Go
You're done.
undefeated.
Retire. Retire now.
Beginner's luck. That was I have a lot to learn, I think.
Yeah. Hey, I got both Carlos and I got both of ours wrong, and you were half right, half wrong. So I think you don't have much to learn. But no, those guys created a lot of games. So
I wrote down a lot of words in that conversation, though, like genetic AI or
agentic AI versus generative AI.
I had no idea.
Large
it
learning
went
models.
that deep.
So, like, what's really cool in my daily job is agentic AI is what we're using more and more than generative AI. Because really, we think about it, Carlos. Generative AI is if when you go to like a bank's website and you're asking questions, it's learn the internet, it's learn the company's like policies and procedures, and it's really just scraping what it already knows and providing answers based on what's already written. Agentic AI is the next step. It's like, hey, Carlos, you asked about your deposit. Would you like me to make that deposit for you? Or you asked about how to make bank transfers. Do you want me to transfer money for you? And it's actually making actions on behalf of the person that's talking
Predicting
to it. So like,
what
right,
a
so
human would want to do next.
correct. So like in the college, we have generative AI where students can talk to the generative AI and ask questions about, hey, I'm a biology major. What class should I take? Or what's the next, like, what are the classes? And it will know, well, okay, it can go out to the web and say, here are all the classes you need to take for a biology major. Well, agentic AI will go, well, let's look at the classes you've taken, and it'll predict this is the next class you should take. And I see that you've taken most of your classes on Thursdays at 8 a.m. Would you like me to register you for the next class in the course sequence of courses at Thursday at 8 a.m. for the same time period or same campus or same whatever? So agentic AI is the next step of doing things. It doesn't just regurgitate answers that are already on the internet.
Now,
Or
our friend
conglomerate.
Chester did talk about how him and his family have been designing a game for decades, and he understands that not everyone has the tools that he and his family may have with regards to like art creation for doing board games. So he totally gets why folks go in the direction of using AI to help make board games. Patrick, I was hoping we can get into an example of what that looks like, because we do have a friend of the show. His name is Chris Scafidi out of Oregon, who did create his own board game. He has designed games for Stonemaier Games, but instead of going AI, he went and taught himself how to draw. So he took years of like art lessons to learn how to draw to create his own art. I'm not going to do something like that. Where would someone like me go if I want to make a board game, kind of throw some art on the table, and have AI help me? Got examples for that?
I do. And so what I did while I was designing Card Shootery, I started, very crafty, right? Like just paper and handwritten on paper to make cards. Then I upgraded to putting it into a database and printing out cards with just text. But you get to a point where you need to like feel the theme more. And because I don't have an artistic background, I used ChatGPT to generate images of food. And, I gave it some basic instructions, like a pencil drawn, sketch of a wedge of cheese. And it would generate that. And so then as I was continuing to prototype, I used, essentially generative AI images of cheese and fruit and that kind of thing as placeholders.
I think we've got one lined up.
I do.
Can I show that?
Yeah, please.
Add that to the stage?
Yes. So here, for example, this is be the output from, because I use Canva, and Canva lets you batch output all sorts of things. So I have a spreadsheet with all of the text and numbers, and then I have a template that has the generative AI image, and then I can batch output all of my cards. That was great for getting to a point where I could at least play the game and have a sense of the theme incorporated, especially when you start play testing with other people. If it's just text on a card, they're like, I don't get it. Like, why is this fun? Theme is important. So I used it for that phase. Once I felt like, okay, like I think this is going to be legit, like it's fun, then I actually went on Fiverr and I hired an artist, and that was in the Ukraine that specialized in food art, and she produced all of the final art for the game. Caveat though, Fiverr is full of AI slop, and a lot of people will charge you money to just go generate images and send them to you. So you do have to be cautious.
Yep.
Yeah. But the artist I work with was fantastic. If you're making food games.
But I think that's awesome. I think, Patrick, you hit the nail on the head there. Is I think what people are so afraid, and what's crazy to me is that people are so up in arms on AI art, which I agree with. Like, in some respects, I want to pay artists what they're due. But using just AI art as far as a placeholder and then getting actual art for the final product is like the perfect way to do it, right? Like, I think people go crazy. Like, I find it weird and a little overreactive that like gamers will like go nuts about like a prototype using AI art, right? Or like just like insane. There was a post on Facebook recently. I forget the game. Someone made like a homebrew version of like Pandemic or something like Pandemic, but used like Santa delivering presents and made AI art of like all Christmas movies. And like, so basically the person on their own dime, it's just like me going and printing off my own. I created my own version of a board game but I used AI art, and like people were slamming this guy. Oh, how dare you use AI art? And he's like, guys, this is a homebrew version of a board game that I created myself. Like, this isn't for sale. This isn't like, I'm not going to like, relax, it's like it's a prototype, it's a homebrew, it's like print and play. Those kind of things is like, that's acceptable use of AI art. Like, when you go to final product, you get an actual artist to do it, and that's great. But between messing with it at home and prototyping versus production is totally different things. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah. So
And
anyway,
it's like I'm sympathetic too, because so for example, I love Penny Arcade. So I've been reading Penny Arcade for 20 years. If you guys are familiar with that website, fantastic, right? They talk about AI art because they've seen derivatives of their work produced through generative AI, and they don't get a dime for that. And that's nonsense. They absolutely should.
Yep.
It shouldn't just be like Disney and Warner Brothers and New York Times who are able to make licensing deals. Everybody should get paid.
They just announced a licensing deal today.
Yeah,
Where
Disney,
I think it was OpenAI and Disney.
yes, so that their new, so that they can, Sora is OpenAI's
that's the
video generation product that can now include Disney characters. That'll definitely not go wrong.
I see nothing wrong here.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, there's ethical considerations, and I wrestle with that too. For me, I guess I made the choice that I didn't have the capability to do it myself. I needed to do this to get the game to a place where you could actually play it. But then I took the step, and let's go hire somebody. And the art from the actual artist is so much better. I mean,
did you provide your AI sketches to the artist to kind of lead them in a direction, or did you
a little bit?
Like, I feel like, here's how it feels like for me. Here's my parallel. I walk into the barbershop, right? And I usually just tell them, listen, you're the professional. You see this head, just do something with it. I trust you, right? But then I know other people that walk in with like a picture on their phone and say, hey, I want this. Can you give me this? Like, and then try to get the barber to recreate that. And that usually never goes well, because your shape. Listen, you're not Jake Gyllenhaal. You're not going to walk out looking like him just because you showed a picture of him to the barber. How did
Right.
that process go when you want to take it from your AI art to real art, you and the artist?
Yeah, and it was a negotiation basically. I'd never done it before either. So I was like, here's what I created with generative AI. I don't want you to recreate this. I specifically said, don't recreate these images. I just use these because I didn't know what else to do. I also provided, pictures of food, and I'm like, I want this card to represent vegetables. And so she came back with a bundle of carrots. And I was like, well, but it should be all vegetables. I don't want every card to be
Oh,
carrots.
good point. Because like a bundle of carrots on a charcuterie board,
Right.
not really like what I think of when I go to Aldi's to make my charcuterie board.
Right. Exactly. So there was back and forth. And it's honestly, it's not ideal. So like the game has spreads, jellies, mustard, all this kind of stuff. Every card has a jar that says mustard on it. If I get to the point where I actually sell copies, I would love to go back to her and make an illustration for every card, but I couldn't afford 78 illustrations, so I made them
Can a
generic.
brother get a jalapeno jelly? Can a
Right.
brother get a jalapeno jelly?
So I don't know if you want to share this, but I put up like the actual artist images,
Yes, sir.
just to show you difference from what like the black and white cheese versus the actual like cheese wheel that she produced, like the carrot that we didn't use. She did a whole charcuterie board that I used in the logo. So I mean the results are just dramatically better than what AI could produce. The other problem with generative AI, it's really hard to get it to do any one thing consistently. So all of my cards looked a little different. Like they didn't look like the same person made them when they were generated. Whereas a human obviously can make those judgments and create consistent style.
It's hard to describe it, but I'm starting to get better at sussing out the differences because it almost feels lifeless. Like that's a way to say it. Like it just feels like there's something missing to it. It's flat when it's AI generated and just AI generated. Like it just, you can kind of tell.
Oh, I was gonna say it's almost broken me of the habit of like the Facebook or YouTube shorts when you scroll through them and you get caught into a loop. I've just come to realize that like 80% of what you see is just AI generative stuff. It's because either the hands are wrong, if it's human stuff, or like it's just so bad. Yeah, it's pretty pervasive how bad it is.
It is bad. It used to be worse, and it may get less bad over time, which is interesting. One of the other areas that I'm interested in is fraud. So the potential to defraud people, especially with AI generated voice, is significant.
Listen, I ran a team in our insurance company that dealt with fraud. So the folks who would get frauded would call in on their homeowners insurance to try to see what coverages they had available. Some of the saddest stories I've ever heard from some of the oldest folks. Like that is like, get on that, bro. Can I donate to help you stop these people? Because
100%. I had my mom has a landline still, and I had to get a new phone that blocks any unknown number. So I programmed into her phone all of the numbers that are legitimate to people she knows, and anything else blocked, because maybe 6 months ago she got a phone call and it was my brother's kid's voice. Like, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. I need help. I need money. Can you give me your credit card number? Can you whatever?" And it was like she was close to not actually giving out. She didn't do it, but like I'm sure a lot of people have, but it's like she immediately like called my brother and was like, "No, Jack's fine. He's fine. He's not even, why would he call you? He'd call me first." And it's like, okay, got to put something in there because those scam calls are coming, right?
Yeah. And you can, not to be too like doom and gloom or fear mongering, but a person can buy a license to a fraud as a service platform. And there are essentially organizations that manage those platforms for you. So it's a subscription service that you can use to commit
like
fraud.
A Netflix for fraudsters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's scary. And I think, to your point, Carlos, there needs to be more education about this stuff. It's something that everybody needs a basic level of AI literacy. so that they can at least have a chance of distinguishing what's real from what's fake.
My worry is we've done this just this past week. So this week, this show completes 5 years of doing this call-in show. So this episode, thanks for being here, Patrick, completes 5 full years of doing call-in show. I'm sure someone can get me to say anything with my face
100%.
based off everything that I put on the internet these past 5 years.
It doesn't take 5 years of audio. It takes 3 to 5 seconds to reproduce your voice. It's terrifying.
That's your PSA. We've had a
legal
disclosure tonight, and we had a PSA tonight.
I could put a PSA out there too, which is good. And it's not even a lot of colleges are offering free classes on AI and how to understand AI. And so even though I don't work there, I would point out, so we live in the Tampa Bay area. The University of South Florida, which is Tampa Bay, which is a big university here in the Tampa Bay area, they actually have a free online class on AI usage and how to use AI and learning about AI that anybody can sign up for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like a self-directed course, like video, you can, so like there are tools out there that people can find reputable sources. And I'm sure USF's not the only college or university that's offering a free course for it. But that's what I think, like you said, I think people just need to understand it. And I think some of the folks trying to pivot back to the gaming world, right? There's the people that are so afraid that AI is just going to take over the gaming world, whether it's going to be, art is the big thing. To me, I think it's even so much as like, when you think about it, people who go to college to learn language and they're translators, right? That's a profession that's going to be gone in a couple of years. You don't need a translator anymore because AI can do it. I've traveled to several countries in the last year or two where I did not speak the language and I just talked in my phone and it translated and we went back and forth and, Google Translate just did it for me. And that's only going to get better and better and better. So I think it's funny that people go slamming the whole AI art generation, but they don't talk about or think about all the other professions and jobs that are going to be, if not gone because of AI. And I think that's where people in the board game industry, they focus so much on the art aspect. There's a lot of other aspects that are going to be impacted by AI usage.
I got a question, gentlemen, on so like it's going to lead to a bigger idea, but I'm unlike Robert, our friend Robert. I'm talking about him when he's not here, can't defend himself. I like to learn about strategies of games from other people. Right? I like to be like, hey, I go to BGG, I look at other people's strategy articles. What are the right actions to take on turn 2 of SETI? Like, I want to know that to help me be better at these games because I'll be honest with you, I lose a lot of games. Anyone who's played games with me, this. I lose a lot of games, okay? And so I like, even with the strategy, I still lose. So it's not cheating. But could I use AI? Would it be even worth the effort to ask AI, hey, I've got 2 credits and a energy token. What's my best action to take in round 4 of SETI? Like, what should I head to?
So to me, this is a good use case because there's essentially nothing at stake, right? So the accuracy of the answer is not the most important thing, right? And the stakes are very low. So if you went and asked it for legal advice, I would say that's a terrible idea, right? But if you ask it for strategy tips, it's a great idea. And in fact, through A3S, at times I've said, okay, we're going to learn a new game or we're going to teach a new game at this event. Go to this resource and ask it questions. So I'll post like call it GPT. You can go into ChatGPT, you can create your own sort of custom GPTs and train it around. You can upload a rule book, right? So I'm like, go ask it questions.
You mentioned Notebook AI.
So I use it in my daily job. So Google has a thing called Notebook LM where you can take. So like in my day job, I deal with federal regulations, state regulations, institutional regulations, and rules. And so I can take all of those rule books from multiple sources, put it into Notebook LM, and it'll combine them. And then I could ask questions, and it'll collate my answers. So like if it would work really good for like really complex games, like even like
TI4.
TI4.
I bought
Right.
the textbook version of the rules for TI4.
TI4 or like or any kind of, or I'm thinking more like Warhammer 40K, right, where you have like decades of rule books. You could dump them all into one spot and then ask it questions, right? So
That's kind of what you're talking about, Patrick, is folks can go in and ask questions of this AI model.
Yeah. And it's not always going to be accurate. It'll hallucinate. It'll make things up. So these generative AI properties, they never say, I don't know. They always generate an answer.
My wife will tell you that is me. That is a characteristic I have. I don't know how to say I don't know. I just make up an answer.
But if you use it enough, you get the idea. You can kind of tell. And Patrick, you can agree or disagree, but like if you use an AI tool enough, you can tell when it's like, yeah, I'm bullshitting you here, versus like
My wife can tell.
Like you say, you can kind of like as you use it, you can tell when it's sort of filling in the blanks a little bit.
As your literacy improves, you can become more discerning.
Yeah.
But you could certainly also have the experience that you ask a question, you get an answer, and you're like, that's not true. And then it says, oh, right, that's not true. My bad. Here's the real answer. And it's like, wait.
yeah. Like what's going on? But Carlos, to speak to your example, the only issue with that is like, okay, I'm on turn 4 of this and I have this. Unless the AI knows what every other card everyone else has and the entire board state, it's not going to know the exact answer. So like questions like, what's a good strategy to win Lost Ruins of Arnak? Like what's the best way to win? Or what's a good first couple of turns in Lost Ruins of Arnak? It could answer that better than I'm on turn 2 and I have these resources. What should I do? Because it's not going to know what everyone else has in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Now, so it's all about the prompts that you put into
it. It is. Yeah, you have to prompt it with, here's the board state, and here's what everyone controls, and here's the cards everyone has. What should I do? Then it would give you a really good answer. But if it doesn't know all that, it's going to make up what it believes to be the best answer.
And the accuracy of that answer will depend on how often in the internet did someone propose that same scenario with all the right descriptions and get an accurate answer, right? So because it doesn't know what the language means, right? It's not intelligent. It's just looking for that pattern in its data set and saying, oh, okay, I found this on Reddit. It's not quite like this, but basically that pattern appeared in Reddit. I'll reproduce that pattern here and give you that answer. It doesn't actually understand what.
But if I get my prompts right, I can get a more accurate answer. So as an example of a prompt, I have an idea. Work with me here. I would ask it like, hey, AI, answer this question as if you are a degenerate gambler who's lost everything, and now you're in a match of lost cities against a mafioso who is going to kill you if you lose this game. Right? By prompting it that, right, won't it want to give me the best answer ever because it doesn't want to die, right? It's all in how I ask the question.
But you're assuming that it can interpret meaning, that it has any kind of intent, right? Or any self-awareness. Like none of that exists, right? So it is. And there's a comment about giving it a picture. Yeah, you can give it a picture and it will try to match that picture against patterns as well. But it doesn't understand that it's looking at a game board or what the pieces are or how many players. It doesn't think. There's no brain.
So like in this, it takes that picture and does like I don't know if you ever
done like made a comment here to this.
Yeah, someone did this at TGG. Apparently, there's some way to just take a picture of the board state and give it some context. So what that's doing though is it's doing a Google AI search kind of like. So I don't know if you've ever get a picture in Google, you can right click and do like
all the
Google,
time in the
Google search, right?
Someone
to find
send me a claim. Hey, this was the painting I had that was stolen. I just do a right click, reverse search.
Right.
You stole that picture off this website.
So that's kind of what the GPT model is doing. Is it's searching the entire internet for similar pictures. And it's looking for context in that picture. And then it's looking for all the text around those pictures. So it's good, but it's not going to be perfect.
But I like how Patrick couched it. I'm not asking it to tell me how much insulin to give this patient. It's not life or death. It's just a board game.
Yeah. And it ideally, it will prompt your thinking or a new perspective or an idea in your mind. But that is your intelligence. It's not the system's intelligence, right? So it could suggest a strategy and you'd be like, oh, well, that won't quite work, but it's close enough. Like, yeah, the same thing with like vibe coding. It's like you get a response that is close enough to the code that you wanted that you can actually then just tweak it to actually do the thing you want. So it can help you prompt, like I said, it can help you prompt your thinking, but just don't confuse it with the system thinking.
So that segment got me to the bigger question I was heading to. And this is so right now, Carlos goes BGG, checks out other people's posts on strategies for SETI. Love doing that. Eventually, some content creators going to start using AI to write articles about strategy for SETI. I've caught myself
And
on
it's going to
YouTube
pull
watching
from
these videos.
BGGs. Yeah, it's going to pull
Right.
from all those people's posts.
So then these people stop writing because they stop getting the geek gold, right? Because now everybody's just listening to the AI guy talk about how to play SETI versus their articles. At what point does AI start pulling from its own articles that somebody else used to create? And then we get like this
that's a good
butterfly
question.
effect feedback loop.
Yes, and that is actually an area of research. And at least the study that I read showed that kind of recursive training, where you have an AI system generates content, that content is then used to train the next iteration of that system, very quickly leads to what's called model collapse, where it can't do anything. So you can't train AI with AI slop. You actually have to train AI with human generated intelligent content. And so, yeah, it's a great question, and it's very pertinent.
And so Patrick had a fantastic answer, because that's exactly right. But so Carlos, when you think about, let's think about that further. So like Lost Ruins of Arnak came out X amount of years ago. People wrote all they need to, like all the strategy stuff on Lost Ruins of Arnak. So now AI is writing on it. How many new people are writing stuff about Lost Ruins of Arnak? Not very many. But the new game, Lost Ruins of Arnak 2.0 or Lost Ruins of Arnak in Space, people are writing about that game, and then AI is going to train on that game, right? So it's like, yes, people will stop writing things about older games because AI can answer the question. But if I came out today with Lost Ruins of Arnak in Space, there's nothing on the internet about strategies to win that game. The AI would just be like, it would hang up, and it would try to come up with answers, because again, like Patrick said before, it will always try to answer the question, but it won't know how. It'll be just all BS.
So now what I really need to know, because I've watched Terminator, all of them, how do we accelerate the collapse of AI using this circular butterfly effect?
AI doesn't, well, current models of AI will no longer grow if it's not fed additional information that is generated by,
Yeah, and that is getting increasingly difficult to do. So it is a function of the scale of training data, and they're reaching a point where there is not more data to train these systems on. And so then you start getting mixes of AI techniques to try to get a next sort of incremental additional value from the systems. And I'm not an AI engineer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. And so I am confident that what we call artificial general intelligence is not anywhere near in the future. So no Skynets, nothing like that.
And that's the point. So like, if you go back a couple of years and you look at AI just starting out, like Watson, right, back in the day, right, and some of the other stuff, and it was like the growth potential, it was like, it was a slow trajectory. And then in the last few years, it went like, holy shit, right, like crazy. Well, it's going to level out pretty quickly, because at some point, if you have like, so Galactus, right, if you like nerds, right, we talk about Galactus devour worlds. He devours a world. At some point, there's no more worlds to devour, right? So like AI has absorbed the breadth of human intelligence in history. It's just got to wait for more human intelligence in history to get created, to create more.
So we've done this, as I've said, we've celebrated 5 years of doing the call-in show. It sounds like there will still be a place for us beans and dicers to come and talk about strategy and gaming.
Yeah, and I think that's the where the and Patrick, I'm interested to see your take on this. Is I think the next iteration of the next big step in AI isn't really AI creating more content or creating more things. It's more of the agentic AI, where it's like now the AI can replicate what you're doing. So the simple button clicks, the simple processes, the things that the system does, or you doing things, it can replicate those things. which makes our lives easier because it does like my day.
Oh God, if I can get somebody to edit my videos for me, that'd be amazing. If I can, hey, listen,
stuff like
can
that.
you pull
Like,
out that discussion that Patrick and I had about the total collapse of AI?
That's the reality today. Absolutely.
I think that's
awesome.
The next big step is that sort of automation, the automation of work, the automation of steps, the automation of to-do lists, the clutter work, the take all of these Excel files and collate them and make them into this PowerPoint presentation and then do this, whatever, those sort of things. It can do that. So I think that's the next sort of, once we get to the point where generative AI has learned all it can learn, then it's taking what it's learned and turning that into work products in various sectors. But
So
thinking for itself is far away.
Yeah, totally. And not without some dramatic new breakthrough in research. Like, we're not on a path to general intelligence. We're on a path to slightly better generative models, and then combining various ML and AI techniques in order to do things like agentic AI. You can let me know how far down the rabbit hole you want to go.
Well, here's the part that I'm super surprised. Okay, so some housekeeping things. One, I told you an hour. It's over an hour. You're always welcome to head out.
Super engaged. So
2,
he's awake. He's ready.
There are 10 people actually sitting watching us talk about this, which I am mind blown of. We're getting comments in the chat to this topic. We've got Edmund from Sweden commenting in an interesting discussion. It's interesting for me, and I'm super glad to have Patrick here. I just did not expect the audience to engage in the way they are. So this is awesome.
Hot button topic.
Love it.
I think agentic AI is certainly what is going to be sold next. I do think agentic AI is good at doing very specific things of a very narrow scope.
Mm-hmm.
So you could think of them as tasks. To replicate a person's work and job, there are a lot of tasks that go into that. And if any of those tasks require judgment or nuance or ambiguity, AI is going to fail more often than
and that's the exact conversation I've had with my staff. Everyone's afraid at work, or AI is going to replace me. I'm like, no, AI is not going to replace you. AI is going to make your job a lot easier, right? And so, like, in a college setting, I work at a college where you have counselors that need to spend time talking with students and counseling students. Like, a large chunk of their day is dealt with menial tasks in the system. A, B, C, click this, click that, do this. And Agentic AI will take care of that, which will then allow you to spend actual time in what you're supposed to be doing, which is counseling, right? Talking to students about academic advising, about financial advising, about life planning, those kind of things. So it's like, AI is not really going to replace jobs. It's going to simplify jobs to allow us to do things that are more meaningful in our jobs.
But let me say this, though, because this is kind of like work too. Listen, folks, all of you beaners, I love
work and
you for
games
watching.
are the same stuff. It's all good. Right?
But I'm just going to have this conversation, whether y'all want to listen or not, because I'm having a good time. Here's my thought. Like, the hardest part of my job is the people part, is the discussion.
But if you had more time to do that, if you didn't have to deal with all the
but
BS.
I know corporate America, when there's more time to do it, there's more metrics to do it. So it's like, you're going to take away the easiest part of my day, which is like the clicking around and the stroking of the checks and the writing of the thing. And I'm going to be stuck with just the hardest part of the day, which is going to be talking to the people about why X couldn't happen.
But you'll have way more time to do that.
I come from a customer service background professionally, right? And this is perennially the promise to customer service agents, is that technology is going to solve the easy stuff, and you'll get to do the most interesting, complicated problems.
And that's when I SpongeBob, and I'm like, well, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's exhausting, right? So to some degree, it will make work more difficult. And then you have this I don't know, phenomenon of, like, the goalpost move. Oh, you were this productive. Now AI has made you this productive. Great. Now the goalposts are here. You need to be this productive. And it's like, it never ends, right?
But now it's just the most difficult part of my job. It's the people piece, which is the hardest, the most emotionally draining part of the job.
But it's also the part that computers will almost never replace.
Right.
And that's what we got to get good at, is the
right. That's what it is.
piece.
And it's the people piece, right? And so, like, from my world, it's like, I work in higher education and I'm dealing with people trying to make decisions for their life. And would I rather spend an hour talking with a kid about where their career paths could be for higher education and what classes are most beneficial for them and what do they really want to do in life? Or would I want to spend 20 minutes doing that and the other 30 minutes doing clicks in the system?
Yeah.
Right. And that's so I think, like, unfortunately my job might be, the AI makes my job so more rewarding because I can spend more time talking with people about their life choices than maybe like working in insurance like you, Carlos, and telling people you're not gonna, hey, you drove into that flagpole, drunk and on a rainy night. But that's what it is. Like, you have to realize what AI is never going to replace. It's never going to replace human interaction.
And a great use case that I talk about a lot is like note taking, meeting summarization. It's wonderful. If your job is spent talking to customers, and when you don't have to worry about taking notes and you can focus on a conversation, that's brilliant. That is a great use case.
Yeah. So
it doesn't change my productivity, but it improves the quality of the interactions.
So think about, Carlos, you're having those conversations with the person about their car accident, right? Or whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. And after you have that conversation with someone, you have to spend an hour of your time documenting everything you said and everything they said. But congratulations, you don't have to do that anymore because you invited an AI agent to your phone call and it transcribed everything that you wrote.
We're almost there. We are
and then
almost
made
there.
every meeting I have now has an AI agent in it. And after the meeting, notes, transcript, audio recording, notes, and highlights sent out via email to everybody, just automatic. Done.
And I'll throw a little bit of rain on the parade because that's what I like to do with AI. If you're in an industry that requires like compliance and regulation, like insurance, so yeah, you'll save you that hour, but then you'll spend 15 or 20 minutes making sure that all of those notes are correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Still better than the hour though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think before we started the show, Patrick and I were in the green room chatting, and I had mentioned I do what I do that I've been doing for 20 years. I wrote a letter to an attorney. And I wrote that letter to the attorney like I have been doing for 20 years, which has gotten me to where I am in my career because, English, although it's not very good looking, it's good enough. But I asked the AI for the first time, hey, help me improve this letter. And it gave me 3 options for the letter. It said, hey, if you want to focus on the customer, use this version. If you want to focus on the regulation or the policy language, use this version. And if you want to focus on the timeline of events, use this language. And I liked it, but you're right, Patrick. I had to go in because I know where this is going. I know who's going to be the audience of this, and I know where it could lead to. I had to make sure every single word and intent that it communicated was what I intended to communicate because I didn't exactly write it.
And you see if you watch the news, you see what happens when like lawyers rely on generative AI to create legal briefs.
Oh, yeah. We've seen that in a lot of the current administration.
So I want to share a little anecdote, bring it back to games for a second. Because you mentioned Notebook LM, and Carlos, you talked about listening to that AI podcast. So one of the things I did with the game design early on is, because I'd written my design document, I drafted rules, I put it into Notebook LM and generated a podcast. I did this myself. When I listened to that podcast, I had a visceral emotional response to hearing 2 people talk about my game as if it existed and they had played it. Even knowing that it was BS, right? It was generated, it was fake. It's real enough, and it like fools your lizard brain into thinking like it's real. So I just wanted to share because it was profound for me to hear 2 strangers talk about a game that didn't exist as though it did. And it was very motivating for me to continue working. Like that's an experience I want to create. Those 2 people talking about a game.
So following the question to that though is, from listening to that, did it impact any of your game design or your thoughts of the game or any direction of the game? Did like the AI come up with something as you're listening to that podcast going, that's not what I intended, but that's cool. Or, oh, that doesn't sound as good as I thought it would.
It generated like 20 minutes. And after the first 5 minutes, it just started to be nonsense.
Okay.
But the first 5 minutes, I was like,
we're pretty cool, right?
Holy smokes. Like this feels like real people talking about my game. So it was motivating, but no, it didn't it did not alter any.
It's kind of what happened with the op when they posted an article on Flip 7 that was AI generated. The article started fine, but then as it got deeper and deeper, Wayne, I think I shared this one with you.
Yeah, it got a little
it
wacky.
Completely got all the rules wrong.
It does.
Like,
yeah,
once you flip your 7th card, keep flipping cards until you can get 7 of the same number.
Yep.
Like, it just no, that's not how you play Flip 7. They
So we got a
posted
comment.
it and had to pull it down.
Yeah. Got a comment here from Aaron. He said, I do think that there's some job loss long term. If an AI can do 10% of a job and you have 10 people doing a job, then you can go with 9. So true. I don't disagree there. And I think there will be some job loss, but I like to be positive. I'm a positive dude. So my 2 positive comments to that are, in every iteration of human history, anytime a new technology has come along, it has eliminated a ton of jobs, but it has always ended up creating more jobs than it eliminates. And the example of that was IBM. IBM 4 years ago let off like 2,500 people when it first started implementing Watson and other AI tools in their workforce.
Watson.
Correct. It eliminated 2,500 people, it was some crazy number. It was like 2,500 or 5,000 people. And a couple of weeks ago, there was an article where IBM has now rehired or hired more than they let off because of the jobs created by AI. So it's like, yeah, they let go of X amount of people 3 or 4 years ago, but then over the last 3 or 4 years, they've hired and rehired more than those people by all the jobs that have been created by the AI models that they're using in their company. So I think in general, yes, it will lead to job loss, but there's so many more jobs being created in industries and technologies that we don't even really know yet that will more than replace that in theory. So that's my positive outlook. Or the other positive outlook, even Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, who's curmudgeon guy that I dislike most of his comments, but he even talked about a future where we no longer work 5 days a week, that the average job is only a 4-day work week because of AI efficiencies. So anyway, those are my positive thoughts. I don't know if Patrick has some negative thoughts or more positive thoughts to add to that, but
I mean, so like at work they call me the AI rain cloud because I'm always like, yeah, but so but I like it's such a mixed bag, and like the future doesn't arrive at the same time for everyone. So
Right.
how this affects different people in different scenarios, like
correct, individual people, but
right, it's gonna be dramatically different. So
Yep.
I might be like a stenographer and I lose my job. That company might then hire back 2 prompt engineers, but that's not gonna be me because I don't know how to do that work. It's going to be some young person just out of college that they pay, half the salary for. So it's so complicated. I think what's important to learn is like be AI literate, like understand the technology, because
it's coming from Cole Green here.
Just like Cole saying,
Yeah.
company may be telling you that to use AI or get out, because from an executive perspective, there's definitely FOMO. And this idea that if you're not using AI, you're not going to be able to keep up. The actual research and data does not show that. So
Right.
MIT did a big study saying 95% of pilots have zero return on P&L. Like they don't make any money back. And they looked at almost 3,000 companies that had implemented like Copilot type of AI. So it's not necessarily it's definitely not being as disruptive as like Sam Altman's going to say. But it is having lots of little disruptions, I guess.
Yeah.
We can feel, if you're in there, it feels very big to you.
Yeah. So I think perfect example, I think on an individual basis, like if you're the translator or the stenographer or someone who writes Java code, if you just think you're going to live the rest of your life, the next 10 or 15 or 20 years in your current job unaffected, then you're wrong, right? But as a society, as a big global level, as a whatever, it's probably going to create more jobs than it loses. But it, like Patrick said, if you're not immediately starting to think about retraining or pivoting your current jobs based upon what the effect might be, that's an individual choice that you're making for the long term. It's like, so my comments about being positive are more of like a societal or general workforce positivity, but obviously, yeah, there's going to be people that are screwed or get screwed by it. But part of that is, individual, not short-sightedness, but And that, you know,
Well,
I'm
they
not
could be
trying to
lost.
be mean. Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean to the people, but it's people who don't see it coming and aren't willing to retrain or think that they'll be able to skirt by the time. Like I'm 55 and I've only got 10 more years of retirement. I'm fine. Maybe
Yeah, or
not.
they may not have access or the opportunity.
Right. I'll
Retrain,
access opportunity.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Lots,
Socioeconomic
lots of
factors. Yeah.
lots of factors there.
Yeah. Which is why, like I point out, like a free class, like a university giving a free
Mhm.
class in AI
That's great.
literacy. Anybody should be signing up for that. You know.
Yeah.
For that reason, I have decided to go back to school in 2026. I'm going to finish up my CPCU designation just to make sure I pad my resume enough so I can fight against the AI literate folks as I dabble in that AI world.
Yeah. Well, hey, USF, sign up, online class.
I had promised Patrick we would do 30 minutes of AI talk, and then we'd get into a twig because he's got some games he played that he wanted to highlight.
120 minutes later.
Yes, we had a great time talking about AI. I'd like to get into that twig. And Patrick, if you're still willing to hang with us a bit, allow you a moment to talk about the recent plays that you've had, the twig. We call that the TWIG twig, This Week in Gaming, where we talk about games we want to highlight that we've played in the last week or so. So, Patrick, what have you been playing?
So I played, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I just brought it. Have you guys heard of this one? It's a single player. IO? Anyhow, it's a single player. You play as a samurai. It's a very fast card game. So you're laying out all of your enemies, and then your deck is composed of weapons, and you're laying down weapons according to which enemy you want to attack. And then on the enemy's turn, depending on their position and stacks, they do damage to you in the form of discarding your weapons. So if you run out of weapons, you lose. But it took 40 minutes to set up and 10 minutes to play. So, it was just
bad.
The rules were not very clear, and I bought it used, and I have more cards than what were in the rules, so I was confused. But I thought it was an interesting puzzle. I lost, but I thought, yeah, it was interesting. I bought it for $6, so it was worth it.
Can't complain there. Yeah.
Based on how you described that one, if you like that one, I would recommend Regicide as a next purchase. It is just a deck of 52 cards, your standard 52 cards. But the rules you can print online and use just a standard deck of cards. But it has that similar aspect of it can be solo or cooperative, up to 4 players, and you're going to be using your cards to do damage. Meanwhile, you take damage by losing cards, and if you lose enough cards, you lose the game. But that one, I would say, is probably like a 80% loss ratio to win. So if you want to get beat up, Regicide.
This felt really difficult to win. I lost by a lot, and I played on easy mode. So we'll see. But it's got great. I mean, again, I like theme, so I like the samurai theme. I like the artwork, so that helps keep me engaged.
That's EO.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Continuing the conversation about getting beat, one of my twigs is going to be Unmatched Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It came in this week. It's over there. I'm not going to get up and grab it. I'm tired. It's over there. I posted, I think, a picture of it on the YouTubes as a post. It came in, set it up, and played it. I was hoping that, unlike the other Unmatched Adventures, which is a solo or cooperative game versus the board, they did a whole one before that with Nikolai Tesla versus Mothman.
Tesla versus Edison, right? Or
no, actually, it's Tesla and a few Golden Bat. There's a few Pulp Fiction type characters that I'm not really aware of. They weren't on Univision when I was growing up, or Telemundo, so I'm not familiar with them. But it was very hard to play. I was hoping that this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would kind of lighten it up a little bit. But I will report back. I am still getting my butt kicked against just Shredder and Bebop. And Rocksteady. They are destroying me. I can't seem to win. I'm using Raph and Donatello, 2 of my favorite turtles. Raph because my middle name is Raphael with an F, not a PH, but close enough. So it was always my Ninja Turtle of choice. And Donatello because he was techie and nerdy like me, when I was a kid. So I'm using those turtles. I'd like to report that the Raph character is on point. He is aggressive. He can get across the board quickly. And he has an ability where whenever he loses his first combat of the round, he gains another action, so he can do another combat, which is in line with that temperament of the Raphael Ninja Turtle. And then Donatello is on point as well because he is building up this like tech systems. So he's got these cards that when he plays his card in Unmatched, if you've never played, it's a skirmish game on a board where you're using cards and miniatures, moving miniatures on a board to attack each other, but it's all card based. So it's not as luck based as dice would be. But whenever you play a card as Donatello, some of the cards have a little note at the bottom where you can, instead of discarding it, it gets tucked under Donatello's card, and that card now applies like a tech upgrade. So like, okay, all your cards in the future get a +1 to attacks, and you're kind of like building this engine. He's kind of slow going. He's kind of getting his tech out there. He's building his gadgets, and eventually he'll have all the cards he needs tucked under him so that he's like much better fighter. But it takes a little while to get there. So he's on point. His ability is that when you maneuver, instead of drawing one card, you can draw 2 cards, which worried me at first because when your deck is depleted, you die. However, once you draw the 2 cards, you can then take any card from your hand, and you must tuck 1 card from your hand at the bottom of his deck. So you're really not depleting his deck any faster. It's just letting you mill through that deck to find those tech cards, to combo them up. So I got a lot of good feels of Ninja Turtles, of the Foot Clan, of Shredder with his Shred Head card, just like pounding on you. Bebop and Rocksteady, they want to stay like right next to the villain. That's their whole thing, is every round, if they're next to Shredder, they're going to heal Shredder, so they want to be with him. If they're not with him, then you automatically move him into Shredder's zone. So it's got this feeling of the game, of the fiction. I did watch the first episode of the 1987 Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Love that cartoon.
And promptly regretted doing that.
What? Come on, man.
It
It's
was
like watching
weird,
G.I. Joe
man.
and Transformers.
It was
It's
just
all weird.
weird.
Just
Like, how
gotta
did I
embrace
love
it.
this? How did I love? My kids were like, "Poppy, this is weird."
Do you guys have a favorite iteration of the Turtles?
I went to season 3, and I remembered every episode. I just skipped season 1 and 2, and jumped right to 3. And there's Krang, and there's like, this is what I remembered more as a kid. And I gotta say, the pacing was different. What I really noticed in the first season of the Turtles is it had a very slow pacing. The words, the sentences were slow. The cinema was slow. My kids were like, "Bobby, this is really slow." But when you got to like season 3, then it started picking up the pace. It was more the 90s faster action, kind of keep your attention.
I mean, I grew up on those Turtles too. I love Turtles. I got into Taekwondo and I learned Sai because of Raphael. So love Turtles. The 2012 Nickelodeon version, fantastic. If you haven't caught up on those,
That's the one my kids remember, because
that's like the where they're kind of like they're not like they're like elongated almost, right? In that
Yeah,
one. Okay.
a little bit, yeah.
Yep. I think I know that one. That's
and
good.
then I like Mutant Mayhem. I thought that was a lot of fun. So
I'm currently watching the movie with the Fox chick.
With Vanilla Ice. The one with
No,
Vanilla
I didn't
Ice?
go that far back. The first one that they did with the CGI.
Oh, wait, Megan Fox. Is
That's the one. So I'm halfway through that. As you can
those.
tell, I wasn't like in love with the movie, so I kind of stopped watching midway because I wanted to see how far they've gotten.
The newest movie was pretty good though.
The cartoon one.
Oh
with
yeah,
Black April.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because all of the throwbacks and like the music and the hidden gems for those of us that are in that generation, it was pretty cool.
So that was my twig with a little OGG in there because I'm other geeky goodness. I'm watching Ninja Turtle stuff now because of it. Aaron Clark from Columbus, Ohio is in the chat saying he's waiting for TMNT Unmatched to arrive. It was an easy setup too. The game is very easy solo setup. It's nice. It doesn't take up a lot of table space. So like it was just a part of the dining room table. I just sat there and played while the kids played in the living room and wife was cooking dinner or something. So I'm looking forward to teaching her. I don't think she's played any Unmatched. I wanted to get a cooperative version of Unmatched out because it's easier to play cooperative games with wifey than it is competitive.
That one's going in my cart. That sounds fantastic. I gotta take off.
All right, no problem, man.
Can I just plug little A3S plug real quickly.
Yeah, you got an event, I think, this weekend, right?
Yeah, on Saturday, we will be at the Thirsty Buffalo Brew Factory in Odessa at 2 o'clock until whenever. We'd love to have people stop by.
Patrick, you are the man. You hung a long time. Much appreciated.
Hey, man, my pleasure. And you guys take care.
Thanks,
Patrick.
Rob he doesn't
Appreciate it,
ever
man.
have to come back again.
Yeah, he's good.
We got Patrick now.
See
Good
you
night,
guys.
Patrick.
Good night, man. Thanks. Very cool.
I did not know that the AI conversation would go that long. And
We could go
have that
forever.
much interaction. That was,
yeah, and I think
pretty cool.
the bigger thing is like we're just bigger picture, right? It's affecting our work lives more than our game lives, but it's going to come into the game stuff. Like, and I think part of it too is like you could think about this. Like speaking about that, you could take every rule book ever written, right, for games. We could take I don't know. Take the top 100, like you and I talk about what are the 100 best rule books we've ever read.
Arnak is at the top.
Drop it into Notebook LM. Then you take your rule book for a game and say, here's my rule book. And where am I wrong? Like what are some rewrite my rule book using these as an example, right? And now, like Patrick said though, is like once it does that, you're gonna have to really go through with a fine-tooth comb to make sure where it didn't screw up. But it's talking about that
artifacts. Is that what he called it?
Yeah,
hallucinations,
hallucinations, and various things. Or it's gonna rewrite some of your rules that maybe not make sense to actual how it works in the game. But like it should make rulebooks better. It should make understand strategy guides better. It should in your playtesting, you should be able to run simulations to find bugs easier to then go. So when you go to real. Like what he was talking about is like you could run simulations and it fixes rules and balancing issues, but it doesn't say it's fun or not. So you can focus on your inhuman playtesting to be the fun, right? Are you having fun playing the game? What rule didn't make sense? Whatever. So yeah, it's cool. The AI art thing is going to be interesting because I don't like it in finished products, but it's going to become more and more prevalent because like he was talking about, like, you can go to sites to hire artists. And even half of them are just doing AI shit and handing it back to you.
How hard it's gonna get harder to catch that stuff too.
Yeah, and it's getting better.
Like a lot of reverse. There's got to be a way like to watermark this stuff within the code, you know. So one meme or it was a segment of the Simpsons show that I saw where the kids were using AI to write their papers. So Principal Skinner was trying to find ways to stop them from doing that. So Principal Skinner ends up taking. In the homework assignment, he puts in the words banana over and over again, but in white font, so the kids can't see it. So when the kids just copy and paste into the prompt, the paper has the AI spit it out, and they turn it in as their assignment, has the word banana over and over again.
We actually, so that's interesting because it's actually in AI security, there's things so like when you fill out an application on a website, right? So let's say you're applying for admission to our college and you pull up the admissions application and there's all these fields you have to fill in. There are hidden fields in that application. And we don't have the hidden fields for you. We have the hidden fields because when an AI or a bot or a system goes in and it's filling it in, it finds those hidden
code.
It's reading code. It finds those hidden fields and it fills it in. So we know that Carlos, you fill out the admissions application, you put in Carlos and you put in all your information. That makes sense. And all those hidden fields that you can't see on the website are still blank. We know that's a more than likely a human being. Still not 100% guarantee, but easy bots, cheap bots, things that aren't super sophisticated will put data in those fields and we'll go, oh, that one's not good. Kick that one out. That's clearly a bot. Type thing. But the problem is they're becoming more and more sophisticated where that doesn't work as much anymore as it used to. So those kind of hidden fields or hidden words and things like that are pretty prevalent. So
I'm glad to hear that the people aspect sounds like that'll be around a long time. So what we do here, because we focus on the people piece. Like
that's what it is. Yeah.
And I think that's why we've been doing it so long.
I like Chester's comment, and it's true or not true though. I dare a computer algorithm to kick me off a forklift. That will change too, right?
Have you seen the inside of an Amazon factory?
Yeah, the bot factories that do all the delivery stuff. But and even the, like 3D printed houses, right? You can, but even a 3D printed house has to have humans there running the machines and figuring it all out. Like
because I do homeowners insurance, I just watched a whole report on this community in Texas that was all built by 3D printing.
Yep.
And it costs a lot more than expected, and it took
It
a lot
does.
longer.
Yeah.
But each time they do it, they're going to get better at it.
Yeah, they are. But they're still going to need. You're still going to need plumbers. You're still going to need electricians. You're still going to need welders. You're still going to need. Those trades are going to become more important again, which is good because those people make a shit ton of money now.
Listen, I told my son because he was trying to decide what to do. I was like, go be a plumber, bro. People
Hell
will pay you a
yeah.
lot of money to deal with their poop.
Plumber, electrician, those kind of things. Like, we have a program for linemen at our college, so you can come to us and like think about all the hurricanes down here and all the lines that snapped and all the like. Those guys make bank,
Stuff
man.
that Ron Fraser deals with up there.
Yeah,
with
so,
him
yeah.
working in the electricity companies.
Yep.
Any
So I
tweets
got-
for you?
Yeah, so it's been a rough. I mean, isn't the end of the year, end of the school semester, holiday time, ton of things with my kid, but did get a couple of 2-player games in the last week, which I like to highlight, and played some Patchwork, which I love, which we've talked about it before. But a game that I don't think we've talked about a lot on the show, Hanamakoji. I love that game.
Rob loves it. Rob,
It's so good, and I think to you, and I don't know if you've played it. Have you played Hanamakoji, Carlos?
Rob has taught me once, and I think
Okay.
I played it one more time with him
One more time
at CMON Expo.
It's kind of like a simpler, faster version of Lost Cities, in my opinion, because you have this string, and because it's like this push pull. So instead of starting a track and having to score points on it, you have the geisha in the middle, and you have to pull or push them in towards you or away from you. But it's the limited choices. You have a certain amount of cards. So the game is you have these geisha in the middle that have point values, and as you play cards, you can control them. And they start with like the cards on the left hand side there's only 2 cards. So if you get both of them, you win that geisha. The card all the way on the right has 5 cards, so you really need to get 3 of the 5. But what's interesting to me is you basically have 4 rounds in a turn, and in one round you can take 4 cards and put 2 to Carlos, 2 to me, and Carlos has to pick it. I choose, you split. I split, you choose. Then there's the next action that you can choose is 3 cards, 2 to 1. You get 2, I get 1. Then you can discard 2 cards and eliminate them, and then save 1 for the end of the round. So it's that simple choice. But what's agonizing is, well, what cards do I put in that 4 split? What cards do I put in that 2 split? What cards do I discard? What part do I put in my save for later? Based on what you're doing too, right? And we're this battle to push and pull the cards, and it's a really well designed game. It's really simple, but it had
But
the
it's
decisions.
not.
The rules are simple, but the decision space is awesome for it. The amount of
And
decisions
it
you have
feels
to
very competitive.
Yes.
Like there were many moments where Rob did something, and I'm just thinking about the feelings I walked away from it. I was like, man, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Like like Rob having known how to play, having it be one of his favorite games, favorite 2-player games, I'll call it.
Yes.
He beat me up, and it felt rough.
Right. But you can quickly, you can quickly come up to speed with it. And I think it would be like a Lost Cities type game where if you're playing it with somebody a lot, it gets even more brutal because it's like, well, I know how he thinks. He's going to do this or he's going to do that. And how do you
change how I play today because I don't want him to think about
right?
how I normally
It's
play.
such a good game. I really enjoy that. It's one of my all-time favorite 2-player games because it's so simple and it's very portable because it's only like 25, 30 cards, and then the 4 or 5 geisha in the middle, and that's it. So it's like, and well, there's little tokens that show you the 4 actions too. But I mean, it's really a portable game. I mean, like the entire portability of the game is really good. So I played that a few times in the last weekend, which I really enjoyed. So
Nice.
Highlight that because Hanamakoji is good. So
I am almost done rereading the rules to Massive Darkness 2.
Ooh,
I have been on this itch to play a dungeon crawler. And Massive Darkness 2 just keeps coming up in my mind. I currently have it set up on the table right now, and I'm going through finishing up the rules. So I'm going to get some more of this played. That's been on my table. We got a call that came in. Beansanddice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ron Fraser from Atlanta.
Hello,
hey, Ron.
Ron Fraser. What's going on?
Not too much. I'm not the first caller, am I?
No,
Second.
you are number 2, and I'm putting it on the board.
No. Well, that's good. At least somebody called. Putting on the board. That's hilarious. So Carlos, I played the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game, and this time I played it solo.
Did you use the
Like,
solo bot from
yes.
BGG?
I did not use a solo bot from BGG. I did not know that there was a solo bot from BGG.
I have
I
printed
played
and
the
used
solo
it.
rules in the box. Huh?
I printed it and used it. I only played it a couple times. It still has some work to be done. But I've also done like you, solo played it two-handed. How'd it go for you?
So I played the solo game where you basically have the four hands and then the draw deck. And the last time I talked about the game, you had suggested doing that as opposed to playing two-handed. And I have come to say that I actually prefer playing that way solo, the actual solo mode.
You didn't like the solo mode with the what puzzly feeling? It was almost like a tableau of cards, like a menu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't think that I would like it, but I do. And what's great about it is that like having the hand knowledge is great, but also having an idea of what's in the draw deck is also great. So you just kind of really puzzle it out. Like, well, like, do I want to break open rings now? If I break open rings, what is that? What is that going to mean? But Frodo needs to win 4 of these bad boys. So like even the setup is the setup stage is really cool because it's like trying to decide, all right, well, who's going to get what, so that I can have them, break open the rings too, and then Frodo can play the one and get all the 4 rings, for example, and try to only win exactly 2 tricks with Mary or whatever it was. One of them is exactly 2 tricks. One of them is the fewest number of tricks. Is it Pippin the fewest number of tricks? I think so.
I can't remember which, but which do you prefer? I have an answer. But what's your answer?
Which mode?
Well, no. So when you're building your team, you get a choice of the characters, right? So you've got an option here where you can take one that says win 2 tricks exactly, or win the fewest.
I prefer fewest.
Me too. I feel like that's easier to figure out.
Yep. Yeah, cause I tell you, like trying to play. Oh my goodness, trying to plan for Mary doing exactly 2 tricks. It's just so tough. I mean, it's even tougher really with the when you're actually playing multiplayer, right? And you don't know what's in anybody's hands. You can't really communicate that. But yeah, it's tough. But I like the challenge.
And Wayne, I'm not sure if you've seen it played solo before, but in the solo version of the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game, actually it's Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game, you play out a number of hands, you like tableau them out onto the board, but there's still a draw deck that's going to come as cards get played from those 4 hands, you refill. So you have some knowledge of the strength of the hands at the beginning of the round, and at that point you're assigning characters to those hands. So that's the fun puzzly part, right? Right, Ron? When you're like, ooh, looking at these 4 hands, could I give Pippin that hand, and will he have exactly 2 tricks?
But yeah, exactly. Or it's like maybe you want to give this hand, like, man, this hand isn't perfect, but like, what's with all the setup actions, I could get, I could put myself in a position um, to where this is a possibility. Of course, I know I've played games with like there is no way I can win all the rings for Frodo. It's like, you know, you gotta even wait to see if you have enough rings available to you to get it done. So that's kind of cool because Frodo in the game has to win a certain number of ring cards, and there's only 5 ring cards, right? I don't know if you played it, Wayne, but
I haven't yet. No, I wish it's on my list.
So there's 5 suits. Um, there's 5 suits. 8 of 4 different suits, hills and monsters and what have you, and then you have the suit of rings numbers 1 through 5.
So the 5th suit doesn't play to 8 cards; it only plays to 5, but it's the ring.
5. Yep. Yeah, it's the rings, exactly. And the number 1 of rings is the most powerful because of fortune.
I love that. The way it's written on the card, Wayne, it says, if you play this 1 of rings, you may win. Like, am I right, Ron? It's not a must.
I don't remember.
I'll have to pull it out and look at it.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. Yeah. But anyway, it's a neat game, and I have leaned towards card games for my solo play. Like I have mentioned before that I'm a big fan of Astro Knights. That deck builder. I picked up 2 small expansions. Basically anything I can pick up and play. Set up pretty easy and get it to the table and play it. It's stuff that I'm leaning towards these days.
Yep.
Instead of the big box massive games that take time to set up, and really you kind of need 3 to 5 players to play, and I don't seem to be having a lot of luck with getting out to play groups or what have you. Fortunately, I have a play group in my house.
When in doubt, make your own play group. That's what I tried
doing.
No,
but Ron hits the nail on the head. Like Carlos, go ahead.
I'm looking at the 1 ring card. It does say you may choose to win the trick. That's huge. I love that. It can be the most powerful of the rings if used correctly.
Yep.
So themey.
That's true.
But Ron, you hit the nail on the head. Like for solo play, for me, like I've tried multiple times to play bigger games, and then it's like by the time I get it set up, I'm just like, no, I'm good. But like if I could just bust out a deck of cards and like 1 board or something that's even like, I know Red Rising is not a popular game for folks, and a lot of people poo-pooed it, but solo it's great, right? It's quick, it's easy, it's super easy to set up. Finspan, easy to set up. Solo trick takers, easy to set up and go. Card-based games that you can just bust out. It's set up in 5 minutes, and I'm playing before I can get bored. Whereas if I take 30 minutes to set up a game, I'm gonna get bored before I even start playing, probably.
Yeah, because Zaya is still one of my favorites. It's way up there for me. They have solo mode. Western Legends. There is there's a couple of different BGG solo variants, and I love that game. The War of the Rings, Star Wars Rebellion. I want to play those games. Even on Lord of the Rings: Journey to Middle Earth, I was just talking to a buddy about this tonight. About breaking that up. That setup's easier, but still, setup, is a challenge. So I just want to play. Sometimes
I've been working on setting up this 1 game of Massive Darkness for 3 days now. So like each day I come in and just do it. Literally, I've been just doing a little bit at a time. I put it up on the screen. It's just a monster, a bear to get out there. I'm looking forward to playing it because I've been wanting to play a dungeon crawler. But you're right, finding those easy to set up solo games. And I'm gonna play this solo. I'm not playing this with somebody else. I just want to play solo. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. That Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring trick taking game. I know the Two Towers is right around the corner, which means I need to get through Fellowship.
What I struggled with is I started doing it solo, and then I had to like re-put it back so that I could teach it to some other people, and then that's when I kind of put it away because at that point it was like, oh crap, now I got to figure out where was I, what cards did I have. It's that resetting of the game. So I'm having that problem with Battle of Hoth because Robert and I are going through the campaign, and there's some cards that you keep between campaigns and all that. So it's like I made the commitment that this copy of Battle of Hoth is my campaign copy with Rob. And if I ever play the game with anyone else, I'm using that second copy of Battle of Hoth that I have for like the one-off games.
What happens if when you want to play the two-board game that is mentioned on the
scenario? When I found that out last week, I thought about that. Well, what am I going to do now? I got to buy a third copy.
You have to borrow Wayne's copy of the game, right? So Chester's asking, I don't know if this is a rhetorical question or not, but ask Ron if he's played Outer Rim.
I don't remember Chester's name from the chat in the past, but if this is a serious question, Chester, the answer to that question is yes. Outer Rim is also one of my favorites. It has a solo mode, and it takes a bit to play. The setup's a little better. What's so funny about it, Chester, and I still don't know if it's a legit question or not, is that one year, one holidays, I came down to Central Florida, and I drove to Tampa to play. Okay, all right, so not rhetorical. Okay, I drove over to Tampa from Orlando to play Outer Rim with Wayne, Carlos, and Rob. Was Rob play too? Was it a 4-player game? This is 3. Yeah. So,
we had dedicated all this time. We set it aside for getting a great game of Outer Rim in. And because we were going to use the expansion, and I had already sleeved the original Outer Rim game, but I did not have enough sleeves for the expansion, we spent like an hour unsleeving the original game in order to be able to set up and play with the Outlaws expansion.
I blocked that memory. I blocked that memory out of my mind.
We just sat and talked. We talked for like an hour, unsleeving cards so that we can use the expansion.
That's why you don't sleeve games.
Well, some games I learned should not be sleeved, and games with like massive decks of cards are probably one of them. That was a great time.
Yeah, but we all had at least an okay time. I had a great time, I would have to say. Not everyone at the table was enthusiastic about the game experience as I was. If I would have to rank in order of enthusiasm at the end, I would have to say it was me, then Carlos, and Wayne, and Rob.
Sounds about right, because it went a little long, but Outer Rim has always done that. So I go into Outer Rim expecting a long game.
Yeah, I don't think we all had a good time playing. I think maybe it was just the length of time. Because I know Rob enjoys Outer Rim, so I don't know if it was. Yeah, but I enjoyed the game. I definitely, but it definitely ran a little long. But I think part of that was the idea that we spent an hour unsleeving cards, and then the rules teach, and then the expansion teach, and then everything. So yeah.
I can see that the game can overstay its welcome a little bit, particularly at that player count. Because I would play it with a buddy here in Atlanta, 2 players I think that was actually my preferred way to play. It's been a while since I played it. Where you play two players, and then there's like an automa deck for a third player, a bounty hunter deck, and pretty much it would kind of go between you and the other player, hunting your target down everything there. So the game moves when it's just 2 players. in that deck. So I kind of feel like it's what's the word? It's like you are in a you're in a movie and like it's Han Solo and like Lando before they became buddies. And you're just kind of so you're the kind of you're the main character, but your rivals, and then you got the bounty hunters. That's basically the agent of chaos, obstructing your progress in the game. So yeah, good times.
Now, what's interesting is I watched a solo. Somebody ranked a bunch of solo games, and Outer Rim came in like in the top 4 for them as a solo game, and that kind of reminded me like that would be a good solo play, especially with that bounty hunter deck.
Yep. Yeah, you had the bounty hunter deck, and you had the merchant deck, and I've played a solo that way before, and it works. But I don't know if I would have put it. I don't know if I personally would put it that high, but
Cool.
Very cool.
anyway, maybe I'm off tomorrow. Maybe I'll pick that up and put that on the table and play.
Yeah, that's me. I am off tomorrow as well. But I was thinking about playing Final Girl, but the Krampus Santa edition.
That's
'Cause
themey. It's right in
Fits
time.
Amy. Right in time, exactly.
I'm going to hopefully finish setting up
Okay,
this
let's
game
see.
of Massive Darkness 2, which is taking me a massive amount of time to set up and get it played over the weekend. So it'll be on my Twig next week.
Yeah. So, guys, I just have to say, it's just to finish out this little conversation that I really feel like I've like regained my desire to play board games, but like I have come out on the other side um, in a different place. Like I'm really looking to downsize my collection, even though my collection is small compared to a lot of hobbyists. But like I really want to focus just a little bit more, and I do have friends that have much larger collections than mine that I can just play games with. Um, if we schedule the time right. So, because I have a lot of crossover with one of my close buddies, and like it's high time for me to get rid of some of this stuff. But games like my tops of my list, my Star Wars stuff and my Lord of the Rings games, Zaya, Western Legends, um, games like that. Those are pretty much going to stay on my shelf. But like, there's some other stuff that I'm about to either donate or sell. So we'll see.
I love that for you. I myself have not gotten there yet, but I love that for you.
Yeah. Carlos, you're the friend with all the games.
I've always been that guy, and that's why I don't know if it'll ever change. And like I get some grief from some of my friends, like, "Bro, isn't it enough?" I don't know. Like, I'm also not a hoarder in the sense of Smaug, where I'm just gonna hang on to these and nobody can touch them, and my precious is no, like they're here to be used. Like Wayne mentioned, Lord of the Rings, the trick taking game. I was gonna say next time you come over, just take it with you. Like just take it with you, go play it, and bring it back sometime. Right now, I got a whole 31 bag, a tote that I sent with a buddy from church, full of games because he said, "Hey Carlos, I was hoping to play some games with the family over the holidays. Can you curate a little collection for me?" And I was like, "Brother, no problem." I put a tote together, threw a bunch of games in there, saw him at church, handed it to him, and say, "I'll see you after the new year. Enjoy." Like
It's a benefit of having like a ton of games. You don't mind lending them out. Yeah.
right. So I'm gonna be that guy. You can be the other guy that borrows. Like it's okay. God's blessed me. I'm willing to share. On that
All right,
note,
guys, I'm gonna. Yeah.
thank you, Ron Frazier, for calling in. You made it a multi-call show. Hopefully, we'll hear from you next week with some more twigs and some more, deep thoughts.
All right. Yeah. Look forward to it. You'll be hearing more from me about actual board game playing. Probably a lot solo, but.
And then I also want to hear about what you got rid of. Like, that's always fun to talk about too. Is like, the decisions you made, what actually left left the collection.
That would be a great topic to talk about as I go through that.
Yeah, I'll live vicariously through you.
Although, Carlos, you've gotten rid of games.
I've gotten better. It's just I can't hang on to everything.
Although, if I have to be perfectly honest, I got a lot of small box games like on my shelf in my office. I'm probably not getting rid of as much as I think, just because my list might be long, but my list of my games library might be long, but a significant number of those might be so small that it doesn't matter. If that makes sense.
Yes.
We'll see.
All right, brother. Good night. Good luck. And God bless. I'll see you next week, I hope.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Have a good one.
That was our buddy Ron Frazier from Hot Atlanta. Last call of the evening.
Yep.
Wayne, any final thoughts for the folks at home?
No, I'm good. I mean, other than Twig, just real quick, I'm on like season 2 of Landman now, which has been interesting and fun. Good show. I recommend it. Keeping up on my Mayor of Kingstown. New season just started recently of a show that I love, Christmas time, is The Great Christmas Light Fight. If you've never watched it, okay. So it's simple. It's a competition show, sort of. They go four people's houses around the country that put up crazy lights on their house. Like, we're talking about like Clark Griswold type stuff, right? And it's like they have like a judge go, and they go to the 4 houses, and they'll do like 5 minutes on 5-10 minutes on how they build it, how they build a display, how they do all the lights, how they synchronize it, whatever it is, and then they judge it. And so it's kind of like a reality TV show, but it's kind of fun. To me, I love Christmas lights. My house looks like Clark's house. There's 1,000 lights and inflatables and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, and
I was up on the roof this past week too.
I was as well, yeah.
I told the kids, I said, "Listen, kids, I don't need you to catch me, but can you break my fall?" Because I got like 2 legs dangling over the edge of the roof as I'm trying to clip the lights.
That's what I was putting on my Christmas lights, and my wife finally, like, I've always just done it myself, and now like my wife's like, oh, "Come on!" I ask every year if I can help, and you always say no. I'm like, "You just in my way. I have to do it, right?" So I finally let her help me, and I was doing some stuff on a ladder, and it was kind of like I needed to reach a little far, so the ladder was tipping a little, right? That type of thing. And my wife's a theater person, and she's like, "Do you know how many lessons and things I've had to do on ladder safety as you build sets in theater?" And I just turned to her, I said, "Look, this isn't theater. This is dad rules, right? So it's like, it's okay. It's dad rules. We're fine." She's like, "This is why you don't want me out here." I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Correct.
But anyway,
so mental health, it's better that you don't see how I did this.
If you've never watched it, it's on Disney Plus or Hulu. The Great Christmas
Bake Off, one of those
it's kind of like
shows.
Yeah, kind of like those things. Yeah, but it's like highlighting someone's crazy Christmas house decoration, like love. And they've had like 11 seasons or something like that. It's been around for a while, so it's out there. So you can watch older ones too.
Like new episodes still coming out.
New episodes, yeah. The new season just started, so there's gonna be like they do 5 or 6 or 7 episodes every Christmas. So but you can go back and watch the old ones. And it's fun.
Just me though. Like I walk the neighborhood with the kids now, right? Yeah. And I look forward each year to seeing more and more lights coming up. But it's just me. It's like it's getting less and less.
No, actually the opposite in my neighborhood. It was like 7-8 years ago. My kid was like 3 or 4, and I said, "Buddy, you want me to do some Christmas lights?" We started watching that show, and he said, "Oh, we should do lights." So I started doing it. And I swear, like, I've guilted people in my neighborhood because every year more and more people in my neighborhood are putting up lights. So it's become more prevalent.
Guilt is a strong motivator.
Yes, it is. And actually, if you on Livingston, so Livingston, Livingston, maybe a mile or 2 up from Bears, there's a house that's massive.
That guy goes nuts. Like right down the street from me.
Yeah, you can park and walk through his whole neighborhood lot. Yeah. So that show, That house that you do know is like nothing compared to the houses on the Great Christmas Light Flight.
They've got like a 2-acre front yard, and
Yeah,
it's filled with all kinds of lights all the way to the house.
It's amazing, but that show wouldn't even qualify for the TV show.
Wow.
That house, yes, it's cool. Yeah. So I like that. Yep. So it's good. So I think you would enjoy that. Pop on an episode of the Great Christmas Light Fight. It's very wholesome, very family friendly, and you get to see some crazy Christmas lights. So anyway, that's what I've been watching.
Family
The
light fight.
The Great Christmas Light Fight.
The Great Christmas Light Fight. All right. That'll get me into the spirit. In the spirit.
Yeah, if it doesn't give you the Christmas spirit, I don't know what will.
I'll send you a pic. Well, hopefully you'll come over sometime before the new year.
Same.
But as a Puerto Rican, I got to keep my lights up.
No, mine are up until
Epiphany.
Yeah, it's the 12 days of Christmas start on Christmas.
I think you and I agree on this one.
We get that one. We get it. Yes, my lights are up
I
until
got
January
a
or
Puerto Rican,
whatever.
Family that I know, they keep them up all year. They don't turn them on. They
just
turn them off, but they leave them up all year long. And when you go inside the house, they still have the tree up. It's in the corner. Puerto Ricans and Christmas, like it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's good stuff. Cool, man.
All right. Well, that was our episode for the evening. Mad props to Buddy Patrick who came through. Folks, if you like what we do here at Beans and Dice, you're welcome to support. You can support by liking, by subscribing, by sharing with your friends. You can download the audio podcast, leave reviews on whatever podcast system you're using to help others find us. We love having you contribute in the chats. Aaron, Chester, Cole, all the folks that were in the chats today. I was just shocked how many people stuck around for the AI conversation and how long that went. I'm so glad that there were others interested in that topic. So thank you all for watching and for listening. I've been Carlos.
And I'm Wayne.
God bless you all. Have a good night. We will catch you all next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.